one. Man, beautiful day in Detroit on the heels of a beautiful Monday Night Football win for the Detroit Lions. Let's go. Let's go. What a game. What a game. Well, it is a pleasure to be here. I always love coming to this venue. I was telling Jeff and Maria, I know they've done this conference here multiple times before. This is an outstanding venue, the views of Detroit. It's just a pleasure to be here with all of you. And thank you for the invitation to participate. And so I have a cool AI helped me write this title. I'm not that creative, but we're going to talk about some really cool stuff in robotics and automation today, because the pace of change, the benefits that the technology brings to so many different companies, so many different industries is really staggering. And my hope is that I can take our world, where we focus on the hardware and the software and the industrial space doing the tasks, and I can bring it to you for your questions, drilling in to see where we can overlap and where it can add value for all of you in the IT and information security space. So as we get going, Jeff mentioned this. I'm from A3. We are based in A2, so I'm kind of your trump card there for that joke. So nice joke. We're headquartered in Ann Arbor, Michigan, right down the road. We were started in 1974, so we've been around for a long time. And we represent over 1,400 companies from around the world, about 60% of which are right here from the United States, in the areas that Jeff mentioned. So I think a good way to set the table for that opportunity and for all the promise that this technology has is to show you a short video that's an excerpt, kind of a trailer for a series that we're working with the BBC on, actually. So I'd like to play that here, and then we'll go into the presentation.
I believe connection is at the center of human experience.
And technology solutions can address that.
The best uses of tech are when they bring people together, when they share information, and when they're creating meaning and impact.
Behind every piece of tech is human creativity.
Technology and innovation is woven through the fabric of human experience.
And helps with some of the challenges we face.
It is revolutionizing the field of care by filling gaps in order to support us in the best way.
It's like traveling with a doctor in your pocket.
With the rise of artificial intelligence, it's more important than ever to teach computer science in schools.
Well, you. Yes, you.
Because AI is going to change everything about our lives.
Automation, robotics, and AI are the tools that can help us do more with less.
It's not about replacing us.
Embracing technology can give us more time to do what we love, to create, to connect, to grow.
Technology doesn't slow me down. It does keep me going.
The future isn't a distant dream, it's happening right now.
And I'm really excited about it.
The old and the new come together in a brand new way is absolutely mind-blowing. It is beautiful.
Welcome to the age of automation.
So we're really excited about this series that's going to be released in January next year. So we hope you'll enjoy it when it's released and follow it. But it really sets the table for my presentation today because there is so much promise. And my goal throughout this presentation is to talk about the applications and show you examples of the technology and what's happening in the space, but also bring it back to reality a little bit for you. This is a chart that shows optimism by CEOs of lately. And as you can see, the yellow line here on the right-hand side is what they anticipate 2025 looking like. And you can see for the first time in 3 years, 58%, or a majority of the respondents in this survey, which was done by PricewaterhouseCoopers, that almost 6 in 10 said that they anticipate the economy is going to improve in 2025. First time in 3 years that that's happened. Has that actually materialized as we stand here in October this year? For our industry in robotics and automation? Well, in short, it hasn't actually. And I'm going to show you now some data that showcases this. So this is manufacturing confidence indicator. You can see that when we began 2025, there was a bump in that line over baseline there. There was optimism coming into 2025. Business leaders were confident that the market was going to rebound, that sales were going to perform, and that the industry was going to grow. But look what's happened throughout 2025. We've stayed pretty much up and down, but below that baseline. Confidence has been pretty depressed. And why is that? Well, there's a lot of reasons why. It's multifaceted, but from the robotics and automation side, I can tell you the leading reason behind this lack of confidence, lack of CapEx spending, lack of adoption that we haven't seen pan out in 2025 is due to uncertainty. And this is a chart that shows you economic policy uncertainty. Of course, everyone in this room is probably well aware there has been some policy that's been discussed, I guess, a lot of uncertainty with tariffs and international policy, taxation, and because the playing field isn't set yet, we're hearing from users of automation and robotics equipment that they don't feel confident investing that CapEx at this moment. They haven't felt that for pretty much the majority of the year, certainly since April, since this began in earnest in April. And so you can see that uncertainty skyrocketed. It went higher than it was during COVID-19, in fact, there earlier this year. And it really hasn't normalized yet. It's been steadily coming down, as you can see, but it is still relatively high. And so I show you all of this, not to bring you down, not to depress you, but to give you the context in which the moment we're in right now currently sits. And that is, there's tremendous promise. No one believes long-term robotics and automation is going to decrease as an industry. It's going to go away. It's going to become less important to the industries, to the customers, to the applications that you and others are working on. But right now, it is a difficult moment in this particular industry. I'm going to show you that here in a moment. And this just shows you how important it is. So what you're looking at here is a World Economic Forum Future of Jobs survey that they did at the end of 2024. And they asked employers, the leaders at these employers, they said, what are the technology trends that are driving business transformation in your company over the next 5 years? And these were the top responses. And as I'm sure many of you will be happy to see, almost 9 in 10 of them said that AI and information processing technologies, an area that's certainly, I would argue, tangential, if not central, to most of you in the room, is of top of mind in terms of driving transformation. You're going to have customers for a very long time. But look what number 2 is, robots and autonomous systems, a large focus of my presentation here today. So we are in a great place collectively. The robotics and automation side on the physical frontiers, doing things, making things, transporting things, handling applications we don't have people for anymore, making jobs safer, creating new jobs, and then all of you with the very easy task of making sure the information is safe and transmitted appropriately among all of those disparate systems. And so this is the environment in which we operate. I want to expand on the point I made just a moment ago. It has been a little bit of a tough stretch for robotics. What you're looking at here is a sales graph of robot orders in North America. This is the United States, Canada, and Mexico all rolled up into a ball, and you can see that over time that trend line has increased steadily. But look what's happened the last 2 years for calendar year 23 and calendar year 24. We had a boom during COVID-19. Many companies were saying, I know I need this technology, I can't get it. The supply chains were terrible. There was a chip shortage. There was so much happening. They pulled ahead the orders. They ordered like crazy. Some might use the word panic. But they ordered, and they distributed and installed robots heavily just after and a little bit during the pandemic. But we have not stepwise changed our slope of growth. We have not collectively, as an industry, continued that pace of change that, if you just listen to my opening comments, you might have expected I would have showed you. There is so much promise, but it's not materializing in the marketplace. So where are all these robots going? This is a simple graph, just quickly wanted to show it to you. The blue bars are automotive, and the red bars are everything else. You can tell, historically, automotive has been the lion's share of industrial robots deployed. May not surprise you, but what may surprise you is the slope of that red. Those red bars, the non-automotive spaces, the medical, life sciences, agriculture, warehousing, logistics, metals, plastics, all of it is growing much quicker than automotive. Automotive is a very cyclical industry, as we know. But non-automotive, they're seeing the value of robots and automation. There are going to be a lot of opportunities there going forward. I'm going to show you some. This is what it looks like quarterly. This is mainly just to show you, look at the flat growth before COVID, look at the boom during COVID, and then look at, we're basically at the same average quantity per quarter ordered by North American customers that we were back in 2018 pre-COVID. So really, if you're someone in my position, you're saying, the United States is saying we want to be the leader in manufacturing. We want our companies to have 21st century tools. They need to adopt this to compete with China, to compete globally, stay in business, hire more people, be technology leaders. But we're not seeing one of the major pieces of technology, the industrial robots, being deployed at the rate you would expect if we're going to achieve those results. And so something has to give here. Something is going to need to change. Either the buying behavior, the policy incentives, the companies that make the technology, make better technology, make cheaper technology, but something has to give for this to change. This is just another graph that shows you automotive OEMs in the first half of 2025, they started ordering again. Really good to see. Biggest customers we have still. Plastics, rubber, life sciences, again, these were all bright spots in the first half of the year. But there were many not bright spots, if you look at that. Other industries did not consume and deploy robots at the rate that we were hoping coming into this year. When you look at I'm going to talk to you about collaborative robots. Does anyone in this room know what collaborative robotics are? Just quick show of hands. So we have, yeah, there's a decent amount of people in here. Collaborative robots are essentially robots that don't require rigid safety systems, cages around them to operate. They're what we call power and force limited robots. So they're able to be hand-guided and trained. You can bump into them. They will stop immediately. It's a different way to build the technology. They typically can lift less, they have lower payloads and all of that. But when I refer to collaborative robots, this is a major trend in our space. Because especially small and medium-sized manufacturers and companies, it's almost overwhelming to them to think about all the investment they have to make to create a traditional industrial robot cell. But if I want to go start to buy collaborative robots and put them on the line next to some of my people and ease into the technology, it's much more approachable. So this is a very critical technology in our space. And you can see that non-automotive spaces, those red bars on the ends there tacked on, all other industries there, almost 3 in 10, use collaborative robots. So while some of the more traditional industrial spaces like auto OEMs and metals and some of the other ones down below are less saturated with collaborative robots, the new red bars that I showed you earlier, all the other industries, new customers, are increasingly looking to collaborative robots. And I'll conclude my stats portion, which is, of course, the most exciting portion that everyone loves to look at in the morning. I want to show you this graph because look at the COVID-19 part. If I had a laser pointer, I'd show you right there on the big bump there, the most recent bump above the trend line. Look at the area below that bump. And then I'd like to highlight to you the area below the bump here, or below the line here. So what we believe is occurring is a return to normalcy, essentially, a return to slope, return to growth that we experienced when we had all those pull-ahead orders right after COVID-19. We had all that excitement and that energy, and I'm going to deploy every robot I can get my hands on because I know supply chains are dried up and everything like that. And so as we go into the future, we expect this slope to slowly increase and get north of that historical trend line. And so in about a few minutes there, I just wanted to provide you the statistical context in which we as a robotics and automation industry are now currently operating. Depressed expectations, below average sales performance, but there's still strong indication that our companies, our 1,400 member companies, are expecting to grow in 2025. Because nearly 90% of them, as you can see there, believe that their sales this year are either going to be up moderately, which is 1 to 10%, or up significantly, which is 10% or more on the right-hand side. So all of that being the case, the context of uncertainty in the marketplace, trade policy all over the place, technology promise, the companies actually creating the technology, deploying it, and using it are optimistic despite all of that. Okay, so I want to talk now about important industry trends. How many people here are familiar with what humanoid robots are? Have you heard about those? Yeah, okay, good number of hands there. Humanoid robots, right? The human form factor. Jeff's Dance, right? They're the humanoid technology, human form factor of robotics. We're going to talk about that in a moment. But what I want to talk to you is about three main areas of where this robotics and automation technology has the biggest potential to transform our lives as people. And it's in these three areas. The first area is warehousing. How many people order something on Amazon almost daily if you need something? E-commerce. Guilty? I got 3 young kids. I'm ordering like crazy. Halloween costumes, Christmas presents, everything. It's like a fulfillment center at my house. Well, warehousing, the only way warehousing has been able to keep up with demand, and the only way they're going to be able to fulfill future demand is by rapidly deploying automation technologies. And if you've ever set foot in or worked with these companies and been in their facilities, this probably comes as no surprise to you. The amount of technology, the rate of change, and the amount of deployment is staggering. And we have interesting things to show. We have mobile robots now that can move autonomously with mobile manipulators, with robots actually on them, so they can do picking applications right from shelves. We have different types of grippers that can handle packages, envelopes, oddly shaped items, foam, you name it, any type of material. The hardware and the automation industry now pretty much has a solution for. And one good example of this, as we look at the demand that's coming for US parcel volume, this is just, again, to reinforce the point that this is not like it's going to turn and go south on us. We're not going back to malls anytime soon. Sorry for those of you who enjoyed that. I always liked Aunt Annie's pretzels, by the way. They're still pretty good. It's a good reason to go to the mall. But look at that, 26 billion parcels by 26, by next year. And it's going to continue to rise. And look at the rate of slope increase that we had coming out of that COVID-19 period. And so this is an example. I want to show you a video here of a company called BrightPick that I think exemplifies this convergence of all these different automation technologies into solutions for warehousing and distribution companies.
This is the world's most advanced e-commerce warehouse, run entirely by AI robots. This entire operation is managed by 48 BrightPick auto picker robots. And these robots, they handle everything from replenishing inventory to robotically picking orders and getting them ready for dispatch. And that's how this facility, operated by leading sports nutrition retailer, The Feed, is able to work 24/7 and pick 50,000 items per day, all while just using a handful of actual people. That's right, this is the future of e-commerce fulfillment. And I am going to be taking you behind the scenes to give you a closer look at the cutting-edge technology and processes that make all of this possible. From robotic picking to human picking, order buffering, pack out, and stock replenishment. We're even gonna hear from the people who work inside this warehouse and hear directly from them about what it's like to work alongside these robots. So you'll definitely wanna stay tuned till the end so you don't miss out on that.
Things there. You can find that full video if you want to keep watching it on their YouTube channel. It's a really interesting video that walks through it. Couple things. First thing, you saw a lot of technology on display though. She lumped it all together in AI mobile robots. But AI mobile robots bring together software, vision systems, sensing, mobility, articulation. I glazed over the gears, actuators portion that actually make up the hardware. So all of that technology, and of course AI, coming together to form the solutions you saw there of those things knowing where everything else in the facility is, being able to understand its environment because the facility has cameras, which is an information stream that we have to manage. And the people that you saw there are helping enable the technology. It's goods to person. You saw the goods coming right up to the people, and they're kind of the crew chief, if you will, kind of doing something, manipulating it, or whatever they were putting labels on. But they're able to interact with the technology as a tool, a 21st century tool. And when I talk to people who are in facilities like this, they absolutely love the technology. They think it's the coolest thing ever. In almost every case, despite what you read in some of the publications, which is robots are going to kill all our jobs, people actually love working with this. And I can tell you as someone with young kids, kids look to this and they say, I want to do that when I start working. I want to control a robot. I want to program a robot. This is technology that's going to enable us to attract and retain talent and also become more efficient as an industry. So let's not just stop at autonomous mobile robots navigating a warehouse. Let's talk about those humanoid robots. And what you have here is a police lineup of several different humanoid robots. Not all of them. There are a tremendous number of them, a lot in China, but all across the world. This is a good cross-section, though, of all the different manufacturers that currently have an offering of a humanoid robot. And if you open X or you look on the headlines, you're going to get all different types of declarations from different people about the promise and how quickly these are going to be in every facility and how quickly they're going to be in your home folding your laundry, or how quickly they're going to be walking the streets delivering packages. It's anybody's guess at this point how we get there. But what I can tell you from someone in my position and what we're working on right now at A3 is that there is real-world applications that humanoids will likely find themselves going into. So here's a quick example. This I don't think has sound. Yeah, so I can talk over this. So this is a figure robot that's doing essentially package sortation on a line, just like a human would be. And it's doing it relatively effectively. Again, I don't know what the requirements are for throughput and speed and all that, but it's really just a technology demonstration that, hey, the robots can actually do this. And one of the main draws of humanoid robots versus other types of robotics is that you can drop them into facilities that were designed for human beings originally. So that BrightPick example was really cool, and it had a lot of autonomous mobile robots and technology. But that facility, and a lot of that facility at least, was designed for that technology to operate. You could drop these into a facility that it currently exists, and in theory, they would be able to do the tasks. Now, there are a lot of concerns relative to humanoid robots. Information security, again, you're sensing your environment, it's perceiving its environment, it's collecting data. And what do you do with all of that information? How do you keep that information safe? These are all major, major questions that need to be answered before we're going to reach any kind of scale in industry with this or pretty much any other type of technology. But there's a lot of promise here. Safety is a big concern still. What happens if a humanoid robot loses its battery and just falls over and crushes somebody's leg in a facility, right? If an autonomous mobile robot runs out of battery, it just stops dead on the floor. It doesn't move anywhere. It's just right there. It might block your path or stall your operation, but it's not going to fall over in theory and hurt anybody. Well, these are the questions we as an industry are now answering. We're working on a standard with Boston Dynamics and Agility through the ISO that hopefully is going to address some of these concerns, but we're not quite there yet. You know who is trying to get there faster than we are? China. This is probably not a surprise to you because of China's charge headlong into other initiatives like artificial intelligence to compete with the United States and other things. But what I'm showing you here is that they actually released a major, massive facility in Shanghai that they call their humanoid robot training facility. Training humanoid robots. Now, that's not like actually true by the nature of the name. They're collecting as much data on humanoids doing pretty much every application you can think of that we don't, as the United States, yet have. So their goal here is to basically just run these machines doing certain tasks as much as they possibly can, 24/7, collect the data, have the data, and be able to use that data for learning purposes on future versions of their technology, and to give them a leg up on the technology. And this is an example of how top-down government support of industry can really move you quickly in a country like China. They have stated purpose, billions of dollars pouring directly from their government apparatus into companies doing R&D and incentivizing the adoption of this technology. Now in the West, we obviously don't have that system, so it's a little bit harder to move the needle and to make the case that we need incentives for people to adopt robotics and automation. We need research facilities like this so we can understand and keep the manufacturing and the consumption of the data safe here in the United States. We have more control over that. But we're moving slowly on that front, but we are moving on it. And I'll talk a little bit about that in a few slides. Agriculture was the second industry I mentioned. You know, food and how we get our food and how we process it and everything about it is about to change massively from where it is today. Historically, we have relied almost entirely on human labor for certain applications in the food industry, in the agriculture industry. And that's changing rapidly. You have a lot of automation companies now that are doing things like apple, strawberry picking, and you have sophisticated vision systems and machines that can weed better than humans ever could fields, because the imaging systems can actually identify weeds before they actually become the sprout of a weed. They can identify areas where there's likely to be a weed and zap it with a laser. There are a lot of applications that are going to transform the way agriculture is done for us as humanity going forward. These are just a couple examples. Yamaha Agriculture purchased Robotics Plus. That was a big news story in our space. In Australia, of all places, you have Swarm Farm Robotics. They have a major facility out there doing autonomous tractors, hay baling, and other things like that. And then John Deere, right here in the United States, has made a declaration. They're going to invest, of course, $20 billion over the next 10 years to sophisticate their manufacturing technology facilities. And what does that mean? A lot more automation, according to their CEO. Now, agriculture is going to change, but it's not the only industry that's going to change. How many people here remember when homes were about half the price that they are now? It's hard. Hard to remember that far back, but we have an affordability crisis when it comes to new home buyers here in the United States. And we also have a worker shortage. And based on the data from the Associated Builders and Contractors, 439,000 new workers in 25 to balance demand and supply that we're not anticipated to be able to fill. And so how, if we don't have the people who want to come into this industry, who want to do these roles, who we need, frankly, to continue apace, to build the facilities we need, how are we going to fix this problem? Well, robotics and automation are doing a lot of these different tasks. And I'm going to show you a couple examples here going forward. So this is an example here of a company called Raise Robotics. They are out of California. And they have a mobile robot, there we go, that has two collaborative robot arms that I mentioned earlier on its end. And what you're seeing here is it's doing a seam installation on a building, I believe, there in the corner. But it's able to work autonomously. It understands its environment. You just saw the human operator there come in, make some tweaks to its work envelope. But it can move by itself. It can back up, it can reposition. Vision systems are looking at the area of work there, so it's able to put those bolts in correctly and secure it. And one human operator, in theory, could control a tool like this. One or fewer, let's say, than what would normally be required. And so there you go. You can continue to build the facilities you need with less people. You can continue to build them at the level of quality that you need, of course, for safety and specs and everything like that, because these are all force torque controlled, and you can measure pretty much every bolt tightening that you do and have a record of that. This is a kind of a cool example. I'll let this play. This is a bricklaying robot. Let's watch this one.
This is the SAM 100, which stands for Semi-Automated Mason. It is a bricklaying robot by Construction Robots. The SAM 100 is equipped with a conveyor belt, a mobile robotic arm, and a concrete pump. It can be programmed to change brick patterning and layout. It is capable of laying 3,000 bricks a day, while human masons can lay around 1,000.
So you can see there's still people involved there, just doing different things. Loading the machine, supporting the machine, programming it, monitoring it, but that thing can pump out more bricks on a more repeatable quality scale than human beings can, and you can do it with fewer human operators, and you can build quicker. Now, I don't know about you, we live in a state with very little road construction, but if ever, I know, I'll explain what road construction is for all of you, because we don't have it here in Michigan. But when our industry is able to solve how many cones I have to drive by every day, and how many I don't have to see the roads getting worked on or anything like that, you know, how the little frustration that you have when you commute sometimes, that's coming. There's technology that's actually being deployed on I would say a relatively small scale today than what we would like to see and what we will see, but that's actually taking place. So the removal of the old, the installation of the new. The front slide I showed for construction had rebar installation on it, and those are pretty impressive robotic and automation systems that can actually lay the rebar that underlies the cement and the asphalt and everything. So hopefully within our lifetimes here, within the next 10 years or so, we're going to see more of those types of equipment out on our roads. So I want to pause for a moment and talk about what comes next. AI is obviously a major topic. I'm sure all of you are well versed in what tools are available today and everything like that. But I do want to just mention to you that right now, in terms of where the AI models are being generated, according to Epic AI in this analysis they did this year, it's essentially a two-horse race when it comes to the United States and China in terms of the development of new AI models that are basically becoming household names. Now, it's not certainly exclusive. It's not a hard and fast black and white type of thing. You can see Canada there, Western Europe, and other countries certainly have a presence and will play a role when this is all said and done. But there's really an AI race happening right now, and there are essentially, I'll say, very few, if any, really no governing bodies or collaboration, aside from a few organizations I'm aware of, that are looking at the big picture ramifications of it. And so when you bring that context into my space, the industrial artificial intelligence, the industrial robotics and automation space, what can we do with humanoids? What can we do with AMRs? The bright pick example, what does it actually mean? Well, it means we're going to be able to do pretty much everything that humans currently do in manufacturing facilities better than the human baseline very shortly. And we know that's coming because we can already see that in the data for how we use AI on the consumer side. And this is probably too small for many of you, but this is a graph that shows different tasks that human can do: image classification, reading comprehension, language understanding, even PhD level science. And there's other things listed here as well. And it shows the human baseline is the dotted line there, and then the performance of these AI systems against these tasks over time. And what do you see when you look at the end? We're pretty much ahead of human baseline in all of these areas today. And these systems aren't going to get any dumber as time goes on, right? They're going to be, this is day zero in terms of how good they're going to be. Who knows on day 5 days from now, even what's going to be possible. And so I show you this because in the industrial context that I was talking a lot about and that we live in, that's also going to be true. The same thing, and the companies know it. And so they're looking at, how do I change my work so that I can attract people? Because I know I'm going to need more people. I'm going to grow. I'm going to win more business. I'm going to be globally competitive. I need people. But they're going to be doing different things. They're not going to be flipping the widget anymore where their arm is at risk of getting chopped off or injured. They're going to be doing something else. They're going to be controlling a robotic cell or doing a value add task. And so that's a big hurdle that we as an industry are going to have to jump over. This is an example, just show a little bit of this, of how AI is actually being laid to work in our space, this industrial factories kind of industrial setting. And I'll let it play, and then I'll mention a few things about it.
Digital twins are vital for the training and testing of physical AI that can understand and perform complex actions in the real world. But today, building digital twins is slow and tedious, often starting with 3D models missing the detailed materials needed for training safe, efficient physical AI systems. NVIDIA's latest generative AI research empowers developers to transform the workflows of the designers and engineers at the heart of these efforts. Soon, 3D experts will select models inside their preferred CAD and simulation software and engage AI assistants using simple language to describe their requirements. These AI assistants combine NVIDIA Cosmos World Foundation models and rendering technologies to quickly generate base materials, complete with realistic visual details including reflectivity and surface textures. From here, experts will fine-tune the base materials to accentuate realism, hand-editing properties like roughness and textures to add details that better reflect the real world. Through this seamless collaboration, 3D models are transformed into large-scale, physically accurate digital twins, ready to be used for simulating and testing advanced autonomous systems. These breakthroughs bring developers one step closer to AI-assisted workflows for accelerating the development of digital twins and safe and efficient physical AI.
roadblocks that we have as an industry is adoption of technology. Sometimes it's too difficult or hard to conceptualize for companies. It's way too much money to invest. It's too complex. There's no way I can see automation working at my company, that type of thing. Well, digital twins and simulation is kind of an answer. It's a gateway into that. Let me show you your facility. Like if you're remodeling your kitchen, I'm going to show you what your new kitchen's going to look like. I'm going to show you down to the floor level, your exact facility, the exact textures, the exact way it looks, and I'm going to put the system in there doing what it's going to do when you actually install it. You can see it all, you can manipulate it, you can actually even interact with it. And advances in AI are helping us get there. I actually put the Apple Vision Pro on at a site visit I was on 2 weeks ago and was able to see this firsthand, and it's unbelievably impressive. It really is. It borders the video game world, in fact, with what Omniverse and some of these texture packages are able to procedurally generate and replicate. So that's the direction in which we're moving. It's a very exciting one. And I just want to close the presentation today mentioning something that's been in the news a lot, of course, and that's trade policy, tariff policy, and I'll tie everything I've talked about together. So we are very deeply involved right now with the United States government on making the United States the destination, the location, the central hub and leader in manufacturing and artificial intelligence and robotics and advanced technology. The administration, Trump has said it publicly, and his administration remains committed to that, according to what they tell us. The issue is that their tactics, the right hand and the left hand, aren't working in unison to make that a reality right now. So what we're doing is we're working with them, and as well as other lawmakers, to propose these policy principles that I believe we have a real chance of achieving here in the next year or two that will help the United States become a leader in the space. And that is just these 6 things. I won't dwell too long on them, but we need a central government robotics office and a robotics commission. Other countries have this. China has this. The United States does not. And we need that if we're going to succeed. Number 2, we need tax incentives to drive adoption. We need to tell these SMEs, these companies who are hesitant, no, it's a good time. It's a great time, in fact, because you're going to save money and you're going to have credits. You're going to be able to do this, do that. Don't hesitate, go now. Invest in the technology. Become modernized. Number 3, a government, boy, this may not surprise you, but the government is not the most technologically advanced organization among all of us and in industry today. There are plenty of opportunities to lead as an example in our government. That's one of our principles. Number 4 is critically important, expanding workforce training programs. There will be jobs that go to robotics and automation technology. The dull, dirty, and dangerous, the 3D jobs, are the first to go. The ones that, frankly, it's hard to fill, high turnover rate, and they're dangerous. They're not good jobs. Well, for humans anymore. Well, we need to take those people who may be displaced by that and have a path for them. Have a unified path. Go do these training programs, and look, there's jobs over here on the automation and robotics side for you doing X, Y, and Z, or in information technology doing these types of things. So we need that, and we need the government to lead that. Number 5, funding academic research and commercial innovation. This is huge, these public-private partnerships. There's a tremendous amount of awesome research going on in our university system. We have to be able to fund it appropriately, but also to make sure we extract that out into industry. And then number 6, standards. There was a question in the previous presentation about standards. That's happening in robotics and automation, these disparate systems, platforms, not speaking to each other. Interoperability is a big issue. Boy, wouldn't it be nice if we had some standards that laid the groundwork for this and kind of wove all the seams together for industry and all the customers. And so this is what we're really driving home in Washington. So to conclude my presentation, in the next 10 years, automation is definitely 100% going to help us address labor shortages. We all know that the population in the United States is aging, but it's also, we're not at replacement levels, so we're at some point, like other nations are right now, going to have kind of issues with the population and jobs and filling open roles. So automation is going to help with that. I mentioned the demographic shifts, and of course, the main core value proposition of everything I showed you today and that we stand for is we get better quality products, and we have lower costs in making them. So with that, just want to quickly plug our show Automate, which brings together over 50,000 people. We're going to be in Chicago next year in 26, and if you want to see these technologies up close and in person, please join us in Chicago. It's free to attend. And with that, I will leave you with the URL for our website to learn more and my contact information. So again, thank you, Maria. Thank you, Jeff. I appreciate your time today. Thanks so much.